Welcome back to a very special Oil and Water. It's special because this is part 2 of Question Time, where I continue to answer the fantastic questions that you wrote in. Let's get this party started. I love this question from @Nert327. Do you have a garden? I do have a garden. I have a beautiful garden that I do not tend. I have a wonderful team of gardeners, which is good because I have a black thumb. Here's from @Tanya Van Sant. Have you ever cooked an oil and water item twice? As in, I liked it so much I made it again. I will say I really came to love a buckle. I had never made a buckle in my life until Oil and Water, when I made a blueberry buckle that had asparagus. So now I just leave out the asparagus. It's like a fruited muffin on steroids. It's stupid good. I like this question from Dan Hanado, or Hanadu, who wants to know, what's your favorite Asian dish? I've recently become obsessed with making my own bulgogi sauce, Korean bulgogi sauce. What I love to do is I'll roast some eggplant or any vegetable, right? Put that over rice and then put the bulgogi sauce over that. It's so f***ing good. I just want to... Good question, Dan. Here's from @Tammy Lee. She asks, have you ever not used an ingredient that you picked for oil and water and totally said, I'm not making that shit? No, Tammy Lee. That's the game. You pick the shit like sardines, things that just don't play well with others. That's the game. So yeah, no cheating. @Shakaton, who's also a friend of mine, asks, what's your favorite worst food merger on oil and water so far, and what food merger was surprisingly delicious? Hands down, I think the worst thing I've ever made on oil and water was the candy apple that we did 2 Halloweens ago, where it ended up being salmon roe with Skittles on this candy apple. It was so disgusting we had to set it on fire. It was also very funny. The thing that I made that was really delicious and really surprised me was a tomato cupcake parfait. Little cherry tomatoes, sliced them up, vanilla cupcake, vanilla, and I made a lemon cream. Put it all together in a parfait. It was so good. It was really, really good. Here's a really cute question from Bubba Booey. Would you ever make a Lisa Simpson shaped cookie? I would, sure, why not? And what's my favorite ice cream flavor? Honestly, 2 from my childhood that I will always love are vanilla chocolate chip and peppermint stick. I used to get peppermint stick ice cream cones only in the summer when I spent summers in Massachusetts with my grandparents, and it would always have chocolate sprinkles on it. Here's a fun question from John Leese. How many different types of bread are awesome? And of course, the flip side, what kind of bread is the worst? Ezekiel bread gets John's vote for the worst. John, I think you're not wrong. I'm not a huge fan of Ezekiel bread. There are so many good breads. Focaccia bread, sourdough bread. Also, there's those little, I forget what they're called, but they're tiny, often dark breads, thin sliced for little open-faced sandwiches or something like that. That's not a bread. It's also not a cracker. What are you? Boo! It's a tiny, hard, dried out little nubs of little tiles of what? I don't know. Bread. I really loved this question from Laura Davison. So Laura asks, what's your favorite meal to cook for guests? The advice across the board from professional chefs and people who cook for a living usually says, don't cook something you've never cooked before for guests, because so many things could go wrong because you're not familiar with it. I am the hostess who will always cook something I've never cooked before for guests, because break the rules, I say. And here's a really fun question from Tanya Stanley. Will you have a show featuring both twins? She means detectives Dan and Dave from our true crime podcast, Small Town Dicks. Tanya, I completely agree. I think it would be quite entertaining. I will have my people talk to their people. We'll see what we can do. This is a really fun question from Roberta, the sun is hot. I love that handle. Do you actually go to market yourself? I do go to market myself. I'm really picky. I know exactly what I like. I'll also say that shopping at my regular market is 100 times faster than if I go even to the same chain of supermarket, but somewhere else because the layout is different. It's like being lost in the parking lot. So yes, I go to market myself. I like it. It's one of my things. Favorites? That was awesome. Those are great questions. We'll have to do it again. That's the game.